Yes, and welcome to the Jungle Gyms podcast. I'm your host Gavin, and I'm joined by Paddy and McGinty. Today is Saturday, the 21st of August, and we've just finished off the Celtic and St Mirren game. Guys, how you doing?
I'm great, Gav. How are you?
I am brilliant, mate. I'm just getting better and better
Fantastic.
every week.
Yourself, McGinty, how are you, pal?
I'm absolutely fantastic. Yet again, another good game and another happy
Excellent.
face.
Good. Excellent. Fan-fucking-tastic.
Positivity is radiating again. Well, what a week it's been. So we finish off. The last game was against AZ Alkmaar. We won 2-0 at home. Today we absolutely bulldozed St Mirren 6-0, and we had the good news as well that the much sought after right back Josip Juranovic has now signed for Celtic, 2.5 million from Legia Warsaw. So it's good news after good news. I think see for today, and right now, under Postecoglou, it kind of reminds me back to the good old days under Tommy Burns and Martin O'Neill, the home games that you attended as a wee guy. And it wasn't really a question of, are we going to win today? The question was, how many are we going to score? And today, a 6-0 hammering, I cannot complain. Paddy, what was your overall thoughts of the game?
Brilliant, mate. Absolutely fucking fantastic. Obviously, another win at Parkhead. Another win. Another emphatic win. Another dominant Celtic performance. Obviously, 6-0. You had a David Turnbull hat-trick, which was fantastic to see. Who else? Leo Labada with 2 goals. And Edward again getting onto the goal zone, the goal score sheet. So you've got goals coming from everywhere again. Brilliant. Another fantastic performance for Kyogo, although he never scored. But again, he was very instrumental to some of the goals. I mate, absolutely buzzing with the game at Parkhead again today. Some brilliant individual performances. Sorry, mate.
No, not at all, mate. Not at all.
Sorry, mate.
As I said, love and enthusiasm, and as you said, like the arsenal that we've got at our disposal up front is frightening. Is that why you've got the guns out tonight?
What?
Is that why you've got the guns out tonight?
Fuck off.
McGinty, what was your thoughts in the game?
I really enjoyed it. Again, it's another clean sheet, another emphatic win. Loads of goal scorers, loads of talking points, all positive. I'm just once again happy, got a smile on my face, and enjoying the football that we're witnessing just now. I think it's a strong performance throughout. I think the backline still is the same backline that we know is not the strongest possible, but they hold up well. They do their job well, and as we were talking about before we went live, they're even bringing some assists into the game as well. So they're contributing even into our attacking play as well. So I think overall it's been a great game and a great day at the office.
Brilliant, brilliant. Well, let's get into it. Starting off with the lineup for Celtic. So the usual suspects at the back, we've got Hart in goals, Taylor left back, Welsh and Starfelt as the centre backs, and Ralston as the right back, of course. And again, continuing with that trend, Starfelt is now switched over to the right of the two centre backs. In the midfield, we've got Turnbull, McGregor, and Christie. Really good to see Christie coming back. The guy's been magnificent. So far under Postecoglou, so I'm always happy when he comes back into the squad. And up front, we've got Kyogo playing on the left. Up front, through the middle, we've got Edouard, and right forward, we've got Abada. Abada had been out for a couple of games. I think he had like a wee niggling concern, so he's back, and the boy is lightning quick. I was actually looking forward to seeing Abada again today because I was looking more from him, and I don't mean that as a negative. It's just because of what I've seen of him. I want to see even more of the guy. I think he's got a lot of potential, and I think maybe sometimes he doesn't get involved as much in the game, and I just wanted to see more of that, and he certainly did. They get 2 goals. And as Paddy rightly said at the start, the scorers, Turnbull with a hat-trick, Abada get 2 and Eddie get 1. Great to see our attacking players, our flair players, getting on the score sheet. Probably the biggest tactical change of the day was Jim Goodwin. He got COVID. Someone gave the poor man COVID and he wasn't able to attend the game. Judging by the St Mirren goalkeeper's performance in the first half, I think that was probably the right move anyway, because he would have been raging at the guy, but he did pick up in the second half. I thought he actually did pretty well in the second half. McGinty, what was your thoughts on Turnbull? I think that's probably the first of a hat-trick that the boy has scored.
More than likely is. I mean, what is he? 2 full seasons he's played, so I don't dare say he's got too many opportunities to get into that kind of position. But when you're playing in a Celtic team that attacks the way that we do, goals are going to come from all over the pitch, and I think we've been seeing that so far at the start of this season. But Turnbull, like many, he's finding a new lease of life almost in this squad. He's finding his place. I think a lot of us last season would have kind of argued that it was going to be tough to see Christie and Turnbull in the middle of the park together, or Christie and Rogic, or Turnbull and Rogic, thinking 2 number 10s almost would be a bit too much. But Turnbull's finding his place playing alongside McGregor very well, where McGregor's doing a lot more of the kind of, shall we say, dirty work without being dirty himself, but he's doing a lot more of the kind of orchestrating it, passing it off to Turnbull, and you're seeing Turnbull's opening the game up, he's stretching his legs a little bit, he's getting forward, he's overlapping with Rogic and playing the nice 1-2s, and he's getting his goals for it as well. That's 3 today, he's scored a couple already elsewhere in the season. I think overall his performances are getting better and better, as are the rest of the team. If you can score 3 goals today, you can score a couple of goals every other week if he wants to in this team, and I think we'll see more and more goals from him.
Totally. One of his best performances for Celtic, and I think this season, Paddy, would you kind of agree with that? That he's just shown much more maturity. He realises that although he's still a young man, talent-wise, we're going to be looking for him. We're going to be dependent on him to be one of the main flair players for us to knit things together between midfield and the attack.
No, definitely, mate. I mean, you look at last season, right? When we signed Turnbull, obviously Motherwell were asking for, I think it was $4.5 million. Celtic paid that outright. They met the asking price straight away. So you can tell right away there's a player there that Celtic desired. When he came into the team last season, I think it was roughly around about December time. About that time.
Yeah.
And he absolutely ran the show. And I think he ran away with the Young Player of the Year award. You look at this season, he started off slowly, but the last 3 games, David Turnbull has been absolutely phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. His passing range is sublime. He gets forward. I think the way the midfield set up just now is perfect for him, because he's in front, the other 2 behind him, and he has just got like a free range to just go and do whatever he wants. And David Turnbull is taking that bull by the horns. You look at the amount of shots that he's picking off, it's incredible. His range of passing is excellent. The first goal that he scored today was a 35-yarder.
Aye. Yeah, a bit of a squirmer, and it kind of swerved in mid-air, and it kind of caught the goalkeeper. It befuddled him, basically. Aye.
Absolutely top notch. He reminds me of a very young Paul Lambert. Oh no, I wasn't quite old enough to see a young Paul Lambert, but I can see videos. And you always look at a player and try and compare it to somebody else. But a young Paul Lambert was almost the same, kind of getting up the park, getting shots off, dictating play. The boy's sensational, and you can see why we paid that transfer fee for him straight away. And the best part about it is that he looks as if he can link up with every single player in front of him. Do you know what I mean? He plays the through balls. The boy's just absolutely tremendous. I absolutely love him. I'm delighted.
Aye. The vision, the technique. He's more or less the full package, and he's only just going to get better for us. And I'm so glad. Like for domestic talents.
What age is he, Gav? He's what, 22?
21, 22. He's not 23 yet. He's 21, 22.
Oh, there we are. Even better. Do you know what I mean? Superb.
Aye, and the domestic talents, whenever they do come up and they're worth that gamble, it's just so important that Celtic capitalise rather than our rivals, because you would just hate to see such good talents be lost, and they're going to be coming up against Celtic. So much like yourself, whenever we shelled out the $4 million for him, and you just said take it, that's it. Brilliant bit of business from Celtic. McGinty, overall for the match, again, another demolition display. Possession-wise, 74% to their 26. Total shots, 37 to their 3. That paints its own picture. And as I said, their goalkeeper, he actually got better in the second half. We had a few chances as well that he managed to kind of thwart, and so he had 6 saves to Joe Hart's 1. I don't even really remember Joe Hart's 1 save, to be honest. He had a fairly quiet day. They did have that goal that was disallowed. I think the linesman put it up for offside, but the replay showed that it was a perfectly good goal, so I'll give St Mirren a wee bit of credit for that. But again, and even corners, 15 corners for Celtic. 0 for them. We're really doing something right. What do you make of that? It paints a picture, doesn't it?
Unbelievable stats. Let's take things like shots. What do we say? 37 there. And I'm just going to bring something else up that somebody messaged me in another chat. So in the last 3 games, overall we've had 104 shots. And we've scored, 15 goals or something from it. It is a ridiculous return that we're on here. The stats paint a really good picture, and I'm going to hark back to Brendan Rodgers' days where we had probably very similar possession stats over the course of the games, and this has been the same for a few games now where we're getting 74, 72, 80% stats in our favour against teams who are maybe in the 20s or 30s, and we're seeing that like these few games. Brendan Rodgers, back in his day, he was very fond of possession being a good stat and a good marker, believing that basically our quality would outshine and would eventually get a couple of goals and win games. And it generally worked quite well. But we're showing now that we can add 37 shots, 12 of them on target. I think it was another 15 or 13 were blocked shots, so saves by the keeper or deflected by defenders and whatnot. It's a ridiculous amount of attack and play and shots that we're getting off while still keeping that possession. So I think it's shown that there's a way of having that possession and putting it to better use. And it's clear when you're getting 6 goals against St Mirren, 5 goals against Dundee. Sorry, was it 6 goals against Dundee as well? But
5.
Was it 5? Aye. You're still getting 3 against Hearts. You're getting 4 against Jablonec. Yeah, they're not the best teams in the world, but we're actively scoring multiple goals in games. It really is a matter of how many, not when. I think we're all comfortable knowing that we're going to get a goal or 2 in the first half. So it's just really good to see this flow and play and this attack and play where everybody's getting involved in it. It's fantastic.
Again, if you hark back to the Brendan Rodgers era, Brendan Rodgers would come out with kind of lines like, "We will keep possession until we can see an opening."
Yeah, kind of recycle the play sort of thing.
Aye, almost as if like we'll keep a hold of the ball until we can see a hole.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But now it's as if like we'll go and create the hole. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We're going through players. I mean today we dropped Tam Rogic, who's been magnificent for the last 2 games at least, and you're playing Christie ahead of him. We are actively but we're just going for the jugular on every team that we see. Do you know what I mean? And you don't see that for a Celtic team. I've not seen that for a Celtic team for a
very long time. Aye, it's so refreshing to see it.
I mean, even Tommy Huntley's team, they were attacking to an extent, but they still tried to create those openings. But you're not seeing that now. You're seeing a team that's literally, it's almost, it's no gung ho, but it's almost to that ilk. But it's not just like just stupidly just going forward all the time. There's a method to it.
Yeah,
and you're scoring goals for the right hand side, you're scoring goals for the left hand side. If the striker's not scoring goals, the midfielders are scoring goals. If the midfielders aren't scoring goals, the defenders are scoring goals.
Yep.
And like you've seen today, if the defenders aren't scoring goals, they're setting them up. I mean, the first goal, I think it was Ralston that set it up. The second goal, I believe, was Greg Taylor. Do you know what I mean? And we've been very critical of these guys, but they're very much playing their part in the attack. I mean, you play St Mirren at home. No disrespect to St Mirren at all whatsoever, but they never offered much of an attacking threat today. But your guys are not standing about. They're getting involved, right? And that's what Ange Postecoglou said in one of his training sessions. The quite famous video now. It's like, if you stand still, we're no standing still. We'll celebrate at the end of the game when we're running. And that's what we're getting now.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's brilliant to see everybody's on the same page, everybody's moving forward, everybody's transitioning, everybody's getting into space. Mate, it's superb.
It's good.
It's superb football. Absolutely
Very
superb.
good. Well,
And it's
lads,
put a
let's
smile
try
on my face, mate. It's put a big smile on my face.
Let's try and dissect the two halves then and go into a wee bit more detail about the kind of flashpoint. So for the opening goal, Paddy, as you were saying, Abada, he received the ball from Ralston, I believe, on the right-hand side. He cuts in onto his left foot and he shoots at the goalkeeper. It went through the goalkeeper's hands. Definitely something that he'll be livid with. But great for Abada, and as I was saying, I just want to see more of Abada. It's great for his confidence at a young age, 19 years old. And I think Postecoglou in the post-match comments, he was saying he kind of felt for Abada. He threw him into the deep end as a 19-year-old because we needed him. But he's really came to the fore, and just long may it continue. But right after that, on the 19th minute, Alan Power got a red card for St Mirren. I believe it was Ryan Christie who was out on the flank on the left. He had the ball at his feet. He was waiting
Turnbull,
for Power to kind of.
I think it was Turnbull.
I thought it was Christie.
I could be wrong. Yeah. Sorry to
one of us. No, it's all right. It's not right. But the Celtic player was clever enough just to wait for Power to come in and commit, and then the Celtic player was just going to knock it onto his foot and drive down to the left. And that's exactly what happened. Power came in though and clattered him. Whenever I first saw it in real time, I thought, nah, just a yellow. And then when the ref actually produced the red, I was thinking, could that have been a wee bit harsh? But the replay showed that Power did expose his studs to the Celtic player, and it did look a bit of a naughty challenge. I think maybe that's just one of the few ways that the opposition players think that they can actually quell the Celtic attack just by going in and playing hardball. It didn't work, of course, because we absolutely battered them today. But he got the sending off for that, and then right after that, Abada he gets another goal. So it was a cross for Taylor, and Abada meets it. You wouldn't really expect him. I'm sure we'll learn more about the guy as we go, but he met it with a header. It was a downward header. It bounced awkwardly in front of the keeper, and before the keeper could actually react to it, it rose up into the roof of the net. So a great start. It was 2 goals within a very short space of time. And then the third goal, Welsh, he fed Turnbull on the outside of the box, and as you said, Paddy, a swerving effort outside the box. Keeper had no chance. And that's just the technique, just the way that he's hitting it with the laces. And then finishing up with the fourth goal, still in the first half. It was a cross for Abada, a howler for the keeper. He parries it straight in front of Turnbull, and Turnbull had the easiest of opportunities just to pounce on it for a few yards. So going in at the break, 4-0, it couldn't have been any better. Paddy, are you surprised? Just kind of pause it there. Whenever we heard about Postecoglou when we were doing our homework, one of the phrases that kind of resounds to me anyway was that it might be a slow burner with Postecoglou. People from Australia were saying, yeah, eventually when it clicks, you'll love it. Are you surprised how quickly it's taken for us to be expecting these high scorelines?
Very surprised. Aye, as you said, Gav, I mean, not many of us would have known who Ange Postecoglou was, so we had to go and kind of do our research. And a lot of the things that we would have seen was that when Postecoglou takes over a team, was that it could possibly take a wee bit of a slow time to get his philosophy put on the team. But when you look at the Celtic team, it's quite frightening the amount of time his philosophy has came onto the team. You look at the players as well. I mean, the players look as if they're totally buying into the Ange ball. I mean, the supporters are, the players are. Do you know what I mean? It's absolutely brilliant. And as you are a Celtic supporter, McGinty's a Celtic supporter, I'm a Celtic supporter, we're absolutely loving it. Do you know what I mean? I really don't see how quick. I can't explain how quick this came upon. Especially when you look at the kind of debacle for last season, where everything was pretty slow paced, everything was lackadaisical, there was big mistakes. Now you're looking at guys like Ralston at the back, and I know Ralston is probably going to be replaced by our new signing Juranovic, but he's a guy who's coming into a game, he's taking the bull by the horns, he's playing blinders. Today, I don't think he was as good as he's been for the last 2 games, but he was decent and solid enough. Greg Taylor, I thought, I've slagged him as much as anybody. I thought he was really good today. Do you know what I mean? And you've got players who are, they're actively, they're just clicking everywhere across the park. I mean, the middle to front, it's phenomenal. It's frightening. It's fantastic. It's excellent. And it's getting everybody's bums off their seats, especially at the park. Whether you're watching it on a laptop, you're fucking jumping about, you're loving it. The defence is starting to get solid. Do you know what I mean? And now you're starting to back us up now with reinforcements. As I say, Ralston has been playing very, very well the last few games. You've now backed her up with a Croatian internationalist who's very, very highly rated.
I think things are looking good.
Mate, everything we top to front is looking good. It's looking really, really good. And it's brilliant to see. I'm loving it.
McGinty, building on that question about how quickly it's taken to kind of implement the style, do you think that it's easier to do that with a young squad rather than more senior players, if you get me, more older players? Do you think that that's been one of the factors that it's been so quick for Ange to implement that style?
Possibly a little bit. I was actually just thinking while we were talking there about how the pre-season went, and we had a lot of young players at pre-season as opposed to the players that obviously we've now signed and some of the more experienced heads who were away on international duty. It seemed to click quite early with the young ones, and I think us having a younger squad overall in the grand schemes of age-wise of a football club, I think they've picked up on it really well. The likes of Abadis came straight in. He's been on fire. I don't know if he'd already started his pre-season training himself before he got here. I don't know where the Israeli league kind of where they're at, but he seemed to come in ready to go. Kyogo's came in ready to go. He's a bit of an older head at 26, I think he is. But you're looking at guys like Turnbull. He's picked up on this straight away. He's figured it out. Ralston figured it out. Taylor figured it out. Welsh is looking really comfortable on the ball now. He looks like he's grown in stature in that backline, even though we all know the likelihood is that we want another centre-back and the likes of Julian is going to take his place, hopefully, when he comes back. But it's for Julian to get it back off Stephen Welsh. The same with the new boy coming in, Juranovic. It's up to him to get it off Ralston, which I wouldn't have said this time last month, let alone last season. You wouldn't have said that Anthony Ralston deserves to keep his spot. You would be expecting a new right back, as you said, Croatian internationals, to practically walk into that. He doesn't. For me, he doesn't, and I'm not the biggest fan of him, but he doesn't. And I think what you're saying about the young ones, is it easier for them to pick up on this new style of play in this new system? I think it is. I think they're still hungry and they're still fresh and they're still full of energy. They're willing to do it. Whereas you get older heads, they're usually more kind of like an old dog. You can't teach them new tricks, sort of thing. I think it's very much
more prone to have an ego as well.
Yeah, they're in the way, they think they know better, whereas the young ones, we don't know who Ange was before this season started, but I think they're willing to accept and buy into it because he's come in with a real idea and a real philosophy, and it's easy for them to soak it up as young footballers.
So,
totally
guys,
agree with you, mate.
What do you think is the biggest difference from the Neil Lennon philosophy to the Ange Postecoglou philosophy?
Night and day, isn't it? Night and day. Where do you start? Getting rid of some deadwood, a new lease of life with the manager, a totally unknown guy, increased professionalism. There's been so many new things, and we're just exercising the demons. From top to bottom within Celtic, I know that you're probably maybe talking about on the football part, but from top to bottom, even the Celtic corridors, there's been just so many things. It's difficult to put your finger on it, but the main catalyst has to be Postecoglou. You need to give the guy credit, because he'll take the brunt of it when things go wrong, and eventually we will hit a blip. You know, it's a long season, it's a marathon. Eventually we will hit a dry patch, and he'll obviously take the flak for that. But when things are going well, you need to give him credit. Aye, that's my piece on that.
Can I ask a question? Do you think that the change in board, obviously you're talking about your Peter Lawwell retiring and your Dominic Mackay coming in, do you think that's had any impact on specifically like your signings and the personnel that's coming in? Do you think that we've brought in the right personnel this season, as opposed to last season, who was kind of overseen by your Nicky Hammond and Gary Penrice?
Yeah, I think overall, I would be tempted to say, yeah, it has had a positive impact. I can't really pinpoint any incident so far where Dominic Mackay has dropped the ball. I know that the biggest criticism it was where we were too laborious in getting in the new faces. But I'm reluctant to criticise Mackay for that. He just started officially on the 1st of July anyway. There's been a lot of positivity. It's too early to criticise Mackay, but it's been nothing short of good news after good news since the kind of Postecoglou train has left the station. I think it's been good, yeah.
And there's still obviously good news to come, because I think there's 10 days of the transfer window left, and you're talking about guys like Liam Scales coming in for Shamrock Rovers, and we're still obviously in talks with Yorgo Giamakanis from VV Enlo,
The Greek boy, yeah.
who obviously was the top goal scorer in the Eredivisie last season, albeit
One
with a relegated team.
One thing I forgot to mention, again, the transfer policy between this season and last season, again, it's early doors, but we've not brought in any loan signings. We had far too many people on loan last season, and that sends out a mixed mentality to the squad. People who, for one reason or another, they don't know if they're going to be at Celtic the following season. I think too many loan players is a negative. It has an adverse impact overall, and fortunately, we've stuck by our guns. We've bought smartly. And Postecoglou in his post-match interview, he used plural when he was talking about he's expecting more arrivals. He didn't say we're expecting one more. He used plural for that, which is encouraging. Guys, just to finish off in the second half, though. A bit of a slow start for the second half. It looked like St Mirren had tried to kind of level things out, even though they were down to 10 men. But eventually Celtic made the breakthrough again to get the 5th goal. It was a low cross with Kyogo to Eddie. Eddie met it in the box. He took his first effort, but that was blocked. And then at the second attempt, he managed to score for a few yards out. Again, if Eddie's going to be playing, he needs to be scoring goals. Otherwise, he's going to be out of the team. And thankfully, he's justifying that. I think we've probably appreciated a little bit more enthusiasm for the guy. Which wouldn't be hard, because the guy at times had been, his body language hadn't been great. And following on from there, in the 66th minute, McGregor and Kyogo came off for Rogic and Soro. So that was good. I was happy that Rogic didn't start the game today. It's all about managing some people, and we're going to really be dependent on him for the European leg on Thursday against AZ Alkmaar. But on the 70th minute, Eddie, it was a Jetty, actually, pardon me. It was a Jetty. He dispossessed St Mirren defender, and he whipped in a pass to Rogic, who failed to beat. Sorry, I'm talking absolute rubbish here. The goal. It was a Jetty. He runs down, retreating defender. He overpowered him with a shoulder challenge, and then he lays the ball into Rogic. At that point, Rogic threads a pass through to Turnbull via a nutmeg. Delightful. And then Turnbull slotted past the keeper from close range. Another brilliant move. That was probably my favourite goal of the game. McGinty, apart from Turnbull, we talked about him, and apart from Abada getting the 2 goals, and Eddie, any other kind of standout performances that that came across your radar?
They were definitely the standout performances, I think, and I think, as we've said quite a few times now in the last few podcasts, middle to front, everybody's getting involved and taking some parts in it. I think almost everybody's scored a goal at this point from middle to front, and if they've not, they've certainly had a few good assists. But I think as a unit overall, the backline gets a little deserved mention. They only had 3 shots to deal with on Joe Hart's goal. I think only one on target, really only one saved by Joe Hart, which I don't think any of us can overly remember. That doesn't say too much, but I think overall you give credit to the unit on a whole there for being professional and they're starting to build into it. So my little extra mention is going to go to Stephen Welsh, who I just felt a few times during the game he was bringing the ball down quite well. I think he actually brought the ball down for the second goal, I think it was. One of the goals, he brings the ball down quite well and lays it forward, I think, to David Turnbull at one point.
Yeah, that was the third goal.
It was the third one, yeah. And I think it's subtle things like that you don't really appreciate too much until you think of it in the bigger picture. He is getting so much more comfortable on the ball. He's taking control of his own position. He's on the left side. We've said it before on this podcast as well. Starfelt is very one-footed. I think it's shown the last couple of games having him back on the right side of that pairing is making both of them a little bit more assured of themselves. They're comfortable where they are and where they're meant to be going. They're not getting turned on the wrong side as such. I think, yeah, my special mention is going to Stephen Welsh at the back just for continually to develop and become a bigger player for himself in the back line.
Mm-hmm. Paddy, whenever McGregor went off on the 66th minute, do you remember who he gave the captain's armband to? I do, I'm just asking.
I don't.
It was Ryan Christie. So now that you know that, what do you think of that? Or am I implicating that there's something to be read into that when it's not really? There's nothing to it.
I don't think so, mate. I think Ryan Christie has been phenomenal for Postecoglou's come back in. Even the pre-season friendlies, you could tell that he had a different kind of desire. Even when he's trying to kind of track the balls down, you know what I mean? He's sprinting for one end of the park to the other. He's trying to win the ball. He's trying to get involved, which is a stark contrast for last season. I think, for me, I was delighted to see that Christie was in today instead of Forrest. Not that I'm getting against Forrest, but I was just delighted to see Christie starting. But as McGinty said, I mean, we've slated the back. Well, sorry, the two fullbacks this season. I thought Ralston was quieter today, but I thought he was really solid. I thought Greg Taylor had one of his best performances of the season today, obviously culminating in an assist as well. So St Mirren didn't really offer too much, but what they did offer, the guys at the back dealt with it really, really well. Very professional, very solid. And they allowed the midfield to go and basically just go and do their thing. You're seeing
totally.
You're starting to see a culmination now of people who are starting to get steady in the team, and that's a positive thing. Guys at the back who, again, you would have thought were kind of no marks a couple of weeks ago, who are really, really, they're performing. They're integral to the team. Again, I'm actually starting to feel really sorry for Ralston, because Ralston's come onto a game and knew he's potentially going to be replaced by Juranovic. Do you know what I mean?
I imagine that the Green Brigade might organise a protest if that were to happen, and I think I might actually join them for that one.
Well, let's hope we don't listen to the Green Brigade then.
Yeah.
No, absolutely no offence to Tony Ralston, but I'm so looking forward to see Juranovic at right wing. Right back, and Abada on the right wing. I think the two are going to link up really, really well. Abada is at 19-year-old. That guy looks absolutely frightening. And
Paddy, how good was Juranovic's goal? So a couple of nights ago, his last game. Now he was playing through injury, probably not great for us. I think Legia, I forget the score. It might have been 2 each. But how good was his goal? It was a screamer. He ran like half the length of the pitch, and he let off a rocket with his right foot, went into the top right hand corner. How good was that?
It was an absolute screamer, right? But we've kind of read over the Polish media the last few days. And what they've said is Juranovic started out as a central midfielder who converted to right back kind of later on in his career. And for where he started for that Legia game, he basically ended up in central midfield and he just unleashed a thunderbolt. And do you know what? See if that was his kind of parting message to the Legia supporters. It's brilliant. And then you look at the kind of videos on Twitter afterwards, and you had the dressing room, and you had Arthur Boric, who's obviously the Legia goalkeeper.
Oh, playing at 41 years old.
Aye, mate, fantastic. I wonder if he's still got a monkey on his belly. But, but no, he was coming up to him, giving him big hugs, and he was basically saying, "You've earned this move. You're more than quality for Celtic." And everybody in the whole dressing room was embracing him and congratulating him. And that tells a story in itself. Do you know what I mean? That they're losing a player, and they're more than happy to congratulate him on his move to Celtic. So for me, I mean, that just tells you that there's a guy there who is very, very well highly rated, and they're wishing him very well. Do you know what I mean? Go and enjoy your next adventure. Who's Celtic? A big club. Go and do your thing. And I'm so looking forward to seeing the boy.
Just as you're saying that there, Paddy, it's news to me and it's welcome news to my ears. But it's kind of slightly reminded me of what happened with Kyogo. Maybe less fanfare from the public side of it, but seeing people congratulating them on this move and wishing them all the best in the world. I'm sure it happens with many, many transfers all the time, but it's refreshing to see it in the public domain, and it's encouraging to feel like people feel like he's earned the move, like he's on a trajectory, that he's going to do well. It gives you encouragement and hope when he's coming in. Much like Kyogo, I'm kind of expecting him to hit the ground running at this stage now.
So I totally agree with that. Just to kind of wrap up the game then, so Postecoglou finished off with an interview. He just said, "We started the game well, we set off at a good tempo and put them under pressure. The sending off enabled us to control the game very well. Right to the end, we were pushing. We want to be relentless in our pursuit of playing our football. Today was a good test of that. The squad is quite healthy considering the schedule that we have, and hopefully we get more reinforcements. And after the international break, we can build again." And the international break, I know that we all love it. That's why I've got my Brazil top out. But the upcoming fixtures. So, as everybody knows, we've got AZ Alkmaar, the return leg in the Netherlands, and that's this Thursday, the 26th of August at 7:15, and that will be on Premier Sports. Following on from there, you wonder what is a bigger game, but following on from there,
where are we going after that?
It's Rangers against Celtic, Sunday, the 29th of August at noon. That is the big one. That will be our test domestically. We know we could barely lay a finger on them last season, so this will be a great barometer to show how far we've came under 9 competitive games now for Postecoglou. And as we said, the old international break. So if you kind of break up the season into segments, this has been a very, very illuminating segment for Celtic. We've seen the kind of the not so great start, but we've built up a bit of steam, and it's been game after game, midweek game after weekend game, constantly, and we're just getting more and more confident. The bond between the Celtic fans and the squad has not been that great for a long time.
See what you're saying, Gav, right? See every single game that we've been playing, especially at Parkhead. I mean, the weather has been shocking. You know what I mean? And it's it's pleasing to see that the team's been playing so well and so fluent and so kind of urgent. Do you know what I mean? I mean, even today, you know me, I'm no one for stats, right? But I quite like to mention them this season for some reason. It's because they're so pleasing. I mean, you had like 641 total passes between the midfield and forward, and they were tremendous. And again, for the third game in a row, there was 0 offsides.
A weird one, that, isn't
it? When was the last time you ever seen that for a Celtic team? So I mean, for me, that just screams out intelligence. So I mean, nobody's lazy, nobody's sloppy, nobody's kind of switching off. They're all in tandem.
Or is it good refereeing?
I think
Scotland, Gav, come on now.
I think that lays.
Yeah, Gav, I couldn't even tell you who the referee is, but I know he was wearing a sash.
Willie Collin. McGinty, about to move on to you, but again, like if you're not talking about the referee, then you know they've had a good game. McGinty, what's your point?
No, I was just going to say, I think stats like that, when we're saying yet again another game where we've had no offsides, it's quite bewildering when you see that, especially when you consider the possession and the attacks that we had in the shots and goals. You would think we'd be getting called off at offside every 10 shots or so, but we're not. And I think I agree with Paddy. It shows that everybody's working to the same place. They're in unison. They're moving forward at the same time. They're dragging the opponent's back line deeper when they have to, and they're playing intelligent football. But it's not just possession for the sake of possession. It's not just shoving balls forward like bullets just for the sake of getting balls forward. It's all together. Possession, attacks, shots. It's thought out. It's intelligent. It's good runs. It's just pleasing to see attacking football and getting results like this again. 6-0. It's brilliant.
Totally. I think we've been rather kind of fortuitous in terms of the fixture list. Discounting that the Hearts away in the first game of the season in the league, but we've played Hearts now in the Cup at home, followed up against Dundee at home, and now we've had St Mirren at home. I think, yeah, in hindsight, I would have preferred to have these games at home. It builds the confidence, but certainly next week, two massive fixtures with Alkmaar and Rangers, and as I said, that for me is the barometer of how far we've came under this short tenure. For the viewers, though, we hope to be back and do a post-match review for the AZ Alkmaar game, so that'll be on Thursday night. So we hope to get a recording out late Thursday evening. And we might have some good news for you. Perhaps a new member to the fledgling podcast. So we're more than happy. We're buzzing about that. And again, of course, please hit that subscribe button. Please hit the like button and share a comment if you wish, and share the video again with your family, friends, and fellow Celtic supporters. Before we finish off for tonight, Paddy, AZ Alkmaar away. What's your prediction?
I'm just moving this. I just realised the wife left that there.
It's a bit fucking late for that, isn't it?
Fucking blue handle and all that. AZ Alkmaar, they were kind of, they were very open. I know that. They were a wee bit decent in spells, but I think if we go and play our game, not just focusing on what they're doing, no focusing on the fact that we're away from home, I think if we go and play our game, we'll rattle them. I don't mean rattle them as in like 6-0 or anything, but I think we'll give them a shock.
I hope so. McGinty?
As we've seen, excuse me, as we've seen so far this season, game after game now, and as Paddy says as well, if we play our game, which I believe we will, I don't see anything from Ange that suggests that we're suddenly going to go all defensive. So if we play our game, we've got goals. I don't see them scoring more than us. They might get a couple of goals, we might get a draw. It could be a 2-2 draw, 3-3 draw, but I don't see them beating us. I think we've got goals in us, and I think we'd definitely go through this tie.
I think if we go out with the belief that we can outscore anybody, then
100%.
I'm quite positive that we'll do that.
Yeah.
What about yourself, Gav? What do you think?
Mate, I'm not going to finish off this episode with anything negative. I'm going to sit on the fence and say 1 each. So please give me your score, and McGinty, what's your prediction, the actual result? 1 each for me.
McGinty, after you.
I'm going to go with a couple of goals for the good guys and a hopeful 2-1.
Okay, McGinty, that is 2-1 to Celtic, yes?
Yes, of course.
Okay, and Paddy?
I'm going to say 2-1 Celtic.
Okay. 2-1 to Celtic. Right, okay, I hope you guys are right. Obviously. Aye. The alternative is the Conference League, and I think that we are too sexy for that.
Aye, because that's the worst name out.
It's a good song by Right Said Fred, man. Aye, back to the 90s. Right, guys.
The Conference League.
Right, guys. Paddy, McGinty, loving it again. More positivity, another great result for Celtic, and let's hope this continues. So thank you very much for your time tonight, and for the viewers, thank you very much for watching it, and hope you enjoyed the football game as much as we did. So from all of us, good night, God bless.
Hail, hail.